NTA International News.
President Buhari expresses gratitude to Nigerians for their prayers, says there is no cause to worry. Acting President says government will exploit human and natural resources for sustainable development of the country. Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark International Mother Language Day. Hello there and a warm welcome to NTA International News at this time. My name is Justin Bemunye. It's glad to have you join us. President Muhammadu Buhari has thanked Nigerians who have been sending good wishes and praying for his health and well-being in mosques and churches throughout the country. The president, in a statement signed by the Special Advisor Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, expressed immense gratitude for the prayers, show of love and concern. President Buhari reassured Nigerians that there is no cause for worry. The statement added that during his normal annual checkup, tests showed he needed a longer period of rest, necessitating the president staying longer than originally planned. Nigeria is adjudged to be endowed with numerous human and material resources which remain untapped. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the Buhari administration will explore these resources to build a nation that has a productive, strong, vibrant and sustainable economy which will meet the needs of the people. The acting president was speaking at the 16th National Productive Day celebration and conferment award in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The 15 recipients of this National Productivity Order of Merit Award were said to possess sterling qualities of diligence, reliability and creativity. Amongst them, and perhaps the youngest, is Saratu Azi, whose demonstration of honesty and prudent management has helped save the local government sector of Plateau State enormous resources. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says it is a new dawn in the Nigerian public and private sectors, stressing the relevance of such values to national development.
Recognition and rewarding of merit and high performance is crucial for the advancement of society. Unfortunately, sometimes, the Nigerian elite, which is charged with the responsibility by sheer force of privilege, has abdicated that responsibility. So today, the political and religious elite sometimes promote ethnicity and religion over merit and high performance.
Acting President emphasized on the Made in Nigeria drive of the federal government.
As the President said in the 2017 budget speech, we must grow what we eat and we must use what we make. Nigerian resources and talent must be directed at producing what it is that we will eat and what it is that we will use. The sheer amount of money that we spend importing everything and anything is one of those things responsible for our present economic predicament. Nigeria has the men, resources, and creativity to do great things locally.
So today we have honored those who the country believes are doing well. They are showing good example in terms of what productivity means.
While commending the selection process, Acting President Osinbajo advised that future selection should expand to individuals, especially youth, who are making mark in agriculture. 5 organizations were also honored and commended by the acting president for keeping faith with the country, even in recession. It is no longer a case of a prophet not being honored by his own people. This award is in recognition of a new vision of promoting Nigeria and Nigerians wherever they may be. From the Nikon Luxury Hotel in Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Ministry of Education says it will soon develop a language policy that will reverse the sharp drop in the number of those who read and write in indigenous languages due to overdependence on the use of social media. The event was the celebration of the 2017 International Mother Language Day in Abuja. Franca Uzoma Olua has the details.
Statistics have it that about 7,000 living languages are spoken around the world. 330 of them have 1 million speakers, while a large number of them have diminishing number of speakers. Nigeria has about 520 living languages. 85% of them are minority languages, some with less than 10 speakers. In a bid to address the gap, UNESCO devoted this year's International Mother Language Day to creating sustainable futures through multilingual education.
I call on all Nigerians, especially the youth, to be proud of our culture and heritage. Remember, your language is your identity. Speak it.
Apart from Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba, majority of other Nigerian languages are undocumented, without orthography, and are currently at the brink of obliteration.
The world community attaches importance to the languages that we speak at various levels. In other words, it is the celebration of the importance of our own culture, of our own language, and of our personal selves.
International Mother Language Day was set aside by UNESCO in 2000 to promote peace and multilingualism. Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News.
Thank you, Franca. I am now being joined by Professor Harrison Adeni, the President of Linguistics Association of Nigeria, to talk more on the significance of the day. Professor Adeni, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, how much have we lost in terms of preservation of our cultural values with the near extinction of local languages in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you so much. We have lost so much in terms of cultural values, in terms of indigenous knowledge associated with these languages. And you see nowadays that kids no longer have respect for the older people. So many of these vices in our society are traceable to non-alignment, so to say, to our cultural values. And even the languages that we have jettisoned because of the Eurocentricity, thinking that anything that is foreign is great. And you can't have anything that is foreign that is great without looking inward. So all this technology that we are aspiring to catch up with in this 21st century might be a mirage if we don't go back to our roots and take holistically to these our various indigenous languages and cultures.
So how did we get to this level in the first place?
It's because of the nonchalant attitude of not only the people, but even the leaders. You've heard so many times by various groups, by our leaders, that we are so many, how can we aggregate the number of languages that we have? So let's take English. If at a point in time, we even adopted French as second official language, without taking recourse to the various indigenous languages that we have in Nigeria. So it's because we have jettisoned what we have and what is ours that has brought us to this ugly situation and level that we are currently in.
Okay, so now what would you now say could be the impact of this day's celebration in checking the present situation?
Yeah, what we have done, I mean, the impact, strictly to say, is the fact that at least the advocacy part of it, that people are now being conscious of what they do, what they say concerning their indigenous languages and culture. Once upon a time, you see people putting on suit, tie, even during the sunny period. But you now see people putting on the traditional wear, which is recognizable, or which should be recognizable as part of our official dressing in Nigeria. And the food we eat, the type of lifestyle, traditional lifestyle that we should live in, that we are currently being obsessed by the foreign standard of living. All these
put together is what I will say that has put us into this position, but the reverse is not the case. I mean, more people are now conscious of their environment, of their social, cultural environment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Adeni, for coming on the news.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was Professor Harrison Adeni, President of Linguistics Association of Nigeria, talking on the significance of International Mother Language Day. Moving on now, no compromise should be made when it comes to safeguarding the health, well-being and businesses of Nigerians living abroad. This call is coming from the Chairman, House Committee on Diaspora Matters in the wake of a resurgence of xenophobic attacks and maltreatment of Nigerians abroad. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegloye reports.
With particular reference to South Africa and other recent examples, including cases in Libya, Turin, and Malaysia, Representative Rita Orji says that in just less than 1 year since attacks on Nigerians in 2016, the violence campaign has once again reared its ugly head.
It is time for everybody to speak out. It wouldn't be a story. This conspiracy of silence, I will not be part of it. Nigerian National Assembly has electors that are asking us questions. What are you people doing? Is it when they are gone?
Consequently, the issue dominated interactions between the Committee on Diaspora Matters and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, who appeared for the 2017 budget defense. She speaks of a new proposal for financial allocation for consular assistance to Nigerians abroad and the need for adequate funding to accommodate the most needy of the estimated 15 million Nigerians.
I'd like to assure this committee that the Nigerian government will not tolerate these practices. We are prepared to consider all options at our disposal in ensuring that the rights and interests of Nigerians are defended in all circumstances.
It is anticipated that diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis will commence in earnest. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegloye, NTA News.
And to security matters now, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the greatest threat against foreclosing the activities of insurgency in the country is the proliferation of fake news. The minister was speaking at the 7th edition of the National Security Seminar under the auspices of the Alumni Association of National Defense College in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
To the northeast a couple of times, the Information and Culture Minister is at a vantage position to speak on the armed forces' gallantry in the fight against insurgents. But the emerging threat, he said, must be contained in good time.
These stories that they fabricate are stories that are capable of setting one group against the other or one religion against the other. And regrettably, these fake news warriors, they have no boundaries. They operate worldwide because they use the social media.
Minister of Defense Mansour Dan Ali, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, commended the Alumni Association of the National Defense College for initiating the seminar series as a platform to collaborate with the Office of the National Security Advisor to assess the state of security in the country.
This is more so that the lectures have been packaged to address the issue of terrorism from both military and human security perspectives.
On his part, Chairman of the Alumni Association of the National Defense College and his counterpart from the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies School said their role will always remain advisory to the federal government. With security as the main thrust of the Assembly, Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello said the seminar has come handy on account of the fact that his state is being infiltrated by fleeing insurgents.
I'm happy the way the armed forces are executing their job. Kogi State is a wrong place for all criminals to hide, because I, in conjunction with all security agencies, will fight them and root them out.
The Alumni Association of the National Defense College was established in 2001 to promote social, intellectual, as well as professional interaction among its members and the society at large. In Abuja, Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, represented by Air Commodore Harold Ogechi, Director of Humanitarian Services of the Nigerian Air Force has flagged off a 2-day free medical outreach in Goza Council area of Borno State. Ibrahim Ubayusu reports that over 100,000 displaced persons have benefited.
The medical outreach, according to Air Commodore Harold Onyechi, Director of Humanitarian Services, who represented the Chief of Air Staff, was to, among other things, give the returnees access to health care in view of absence of basic infrastructures.
We are here to implement his broadest plan to provide medical succor to the internally displaced persons in their area of need, in their environment.
Air Commodore Harold Onyechi assured the displaced persons that the Nigerian Air Force will make provision for severe cases in the near future as the gesture will be continuous. Commanding Officer 105 Composite Group Medical Center, Maiduguri, Wing Commander Solomon Irimia said the displaced persons, mostly the aged, were diagnosed of high blood pressure, severe eyes defect, fever and malaria, while children between the ages of 2 to 7 were also dewormed. Representative of the Chief of Air Staff, flanked by other senior officers, distributed treated mosquito nets to nursing and pregnant women. The beneficiaries commended the medical team of the Nigerian Air Force for giving them succor in their hours of need and urged them to cover other areas in Goza.
Ibrahim Ubayusuf, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We will be right back after the break. Please do stay tuned.
Following the approval of the Whistleblowers Policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, patriotic Nigerians have been making inquiries on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud to the appropriate authority and answers to frequently asked questions. The Federal Ministry of Finance has therefore dedicated a telephone line for receiving SMS, a whistleblowers portal, and an email address through which members of the public who volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation could deliver such information for the attention of the team dedicated to process such information. SMS 09098067946. Whistleblowers portal www.finance.gov.ng. Email address whistle@finance.gov.ng. The ministry encourages all Nigerians with information on misconduct, violation or improper activity which can impact negatively on the Nigerian people and government to report it through the 3 channels dedicated for that purpose.
Reports have it that since 2011, insurgency in northern Nigeria has forced more than 2 million people to flee their homes. And statistics by UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs indicates that 3 million children are urgently in need of education in the country. A UK NGO, Street Child, has launched its educational intervention project in the country to address this need, with a donation of educational support packages at the new Kuchigoro IDP camp in Abuja. Reports from UNICEF show that globally, during emergencies like conflicts and wars, education has no place for priority. As in the case of Nigeria's records of insurgency over the years in the northeast, about 3 million children are said to be in dire need of education. In trying to reconstruct the access to education and support the efforts of the Nigerian government, Street Child from the UK, with the intervention of UNICEF, is in the country to focus on child education and protection as well as livelihood support for vulnerable families. With support from other partners like the Intercommunity Development Social Organization IDS, Street Child kick-started its project from the new Kuchigoro IDP camp by giving out 150 educational support packages. The humanitarian response is targeting 60% of the vulnerable children nationwide.
From the Street Child point of view, we stand for and want to always ensure that the children of today, irrespective of who they are, irrespective of where they are, are not deprived of their human rights to access basic education.
So it is our aim to go to that place, go to places like Maiduguri, go to places like Yola, and even beyond, to actually start to engage the communities there, to support children who are out of school, to access their basic rights to education.
I want to appeal to you, don't sell anything that has been given to you. Give it to your children. They are meant for their own good.
30 mothers are also to be trained on skills development, after which grants for startup will be given as livelihood support. Management of the Nigerian Television Authority has reaffirmed commitment towards providing conducive environment for its workforce. Director General of NTA Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, represented by the Executive Director Special Duties Joseph Etuk, stated this when the organization's National Health Insurance Accredited Maintenance Organization came to talk over implementation issues. Chugunonso Wabezi has the details.
With the high demanding nature of broadcasting industry, the need for adequate healthcare services for optimal employee performance becomes necessary. To ensure the over 5,000 workforce of the NTA is adequately catered for, Managing Director of Managed Healthcare Services, Dr. Patrick Correa, said they are on a fact-finding visit to evaluate the impact of their services to NTA family.
To ensure this best and necessary medicine, the scheme was designed to use 87% of the premium to deliver care. Ourselves, as Managed Healthcare Services, this 87% of the premium we collect is meant for delivery of care.
Director General of NTA Yakub Ibn Mohammed, represented by the Executive Director Special Duties Joseph Etuk, while assuring the firm of continued collaboration, sought their support to upgrade the health section of NTA TV College Jos to a primary health care provider.
People work here from morning till morning, and they are quite prone to a number of health challenges. So if you are going to serve us, manage us well, you have to work closer with us. You have to provide a services that is balanced so that we can feel the impact of what you're doing.
The team is to hold medical screening on Wednesday and Thursday for NTA's staff within the headquarters in Abuja. Chukunonsonwa Boeze, NTA News.
Nigeria's Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says there may be no need for IMF loan as non-oil revenue improves. Chiazala Mekye has details and business news.
A warm welcome to Business News segment. The National Economic Council last Thursday decried the widening gap between the interbank foreign exchange and parallel market rates and called for a review. Consequently, the Apex Bank has, however, swung into action to ease the difficulties encountered by Nigerians and has directed for additional funding to banks to meet the needs of Nigerians for their personal, business travel, medical, and school fees.
We should see some impact, but we have to see it operate for some time before we know exactly how it's going to work. But I think generally, the policy is to try to create a level playing field for everybody.
This directive hopes to address the shortfall, which has driven the Naira to 520 Naira to $1 on the parallel market, weaker than the official interbank rate of 305 Naira. And Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says there may be no need for Nigeria to apply for an International Monetary Fund program owing to the improvements of revenues from non-oil revenue. She notes that the government is fine-tuning its economic reform program through its diversification drive in keeping away from over-dependence on oil revenue. And trading on the equities market closed today on a positive note as the oil share index appreciated by 0.1%. Here are the graphical illustration. That's the page at this time. I am Chiazala Mekye. The news continues. Please stay with us.
And Phoebe Kabrook is standing by with highlights of stories trending across the globe.
South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has promised aid agencies safe access to hunger-stricken civilians a day after his government declared a famine in parts of the war-ravaged country. South Sudan has been entangled in civil war since 2013, and the United Nations said it was unable to reach some of the worst hit areas because of insecurity. And reports say the United Nations has appealed that the trial of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, son of the ousted Libyan leader, sentenced to death in absentia, did not meet international standards, and he should face murder charges at the International Criminal Court (ICC). And the EU Chief Executive Jean Juncker has said that Britain will need years to negotiate a future trade deal with the European Union after it quits the bloc, and will be landed a very hefty bill from Brussels on living. Addressing the Belgian Parliament, Juncker noted that the Brexit talks expected to be launched next month would last 2 years before Britain withdraws from the bloc. Phoebe Kabruk, NTA News.
And up next is Sports Update with Kenema Bodiki.